Over the summer, I was able to visit Frontier City for the first time. This is the smallest of the parks that Six Flags operates, housing 4 roller coasters, one of which being the Aero Shuttle Loop Diamondback. This was a bucket list coaster for me, and I'm so happy to have crossed it off the list. This shuttle loop stands at a height of 56 feet, has a top speed of 45 miles per hour, and a total length of 635 feet. And despite currently operating at Frontier City, it started its life at Six Flags Great Adventure. Diamondback was originally the bottom track for Lightning Loops, which consisted of 2 separate tracks with interlocking loops. Lightning Loops opened May 23, 1978. The 2 shuttle loops were located where Batman and Nitro currently stand. They beat Loch Ness Monster by a month for the first interlocking loops. The 2 were very popular in their first few years. By 1986, the ride had no longer pulled the lines it used to, and the lower track was closed, and would remain standing but not operating. Unfortunately, the top track had a fatal accident a few years into its service life, where a guest boarded the train as it was being dispatched, leading to them falling to their death. Modifications were done to the top track to prevent another accident like this. By 1989, Great Adventure would introduce the Great American Scream Machine, a full circuit aero looper, and not just any looper, a 7-inversion mega looper. This ride made Lightning Loops redundant in its own park, and in 1992, the 2 shuttle loops were removed. As mentioned before, they would be replaced by Batman and Nitro in the following years. The top track was sent to Adventure World, which would later become Six Flags America, and the bottom to Frontier City, where it would operate for the first time in 6 years. The tracks would both take on snake names, Diamondback and Python. Python would operate at Six Flags America for 5 years, being put into storage in 1998, and being replaced by the Vekoma inverted boomerang, Two-Face. Python would spend another 5 years in storage until it was eventually scrapped. Diamondback remains at Frontier City, being one of 3 aero shuttle loops still in operation, the others being located at Elitch Gardens and Blackpool Pleasure Beach. During the 2020 season, Diamondback received a new covered station, which fixes the issue of no shade. I just wish SeaWorld San Diego would do this with Emperor. Diamondback's entrance is in the gift shop, and the climb to the station is very similar to that of a water slide. Once reaching the top, you pick a row and you pull your over-the-shoulder restraints down. Once dispatched, the train is launched, or more accurately, pushed to the first drop. This is a pretty unique launch, and while it's not my favorite, the feeling of being pushed as opposed to accelerated is one I did enjoy. The drop offers some solid airtime in the front and some of the strongest on any aero in the back. It's a great start to the ride. Following is the vertical loop taken at pretty decent speeds and is decently intense, comparable to Canyon Blaster at Adventure Dome. The train then rises up again and comes to a stop. It lines up with the catch car, and after a few seconds of waiting, launches you backwards. The drop gives some solid backwards ejector in most rows, but in the front row, it's unreal. Some of the wildest airtime I have ever experienced, and honestly, it's up there for one of my favorite drops, period. This is followed by the loop again, which is disorienting backwards, and then the train rises up and stops in the station. I got a few rides on this, front and back, and let me tell you, it's not something you want to miss. The ride packs so much into what is pretty much just 2 elements: airtime, positive G's, and just an overall fun experience. It sits right next to the parking lot, and with its great mixture of blue and yellow, it grabs your attention immediately. This is a ride I was pleasantly surprised with quality-wise, and it's one I hope to get back to someday soon. With that, I'm gonna need to give this fantastic ride an 8 out of 10, one of my favorite shuttle coasters out there. Another great shuttle coaster is only 2 hours south at Six Flags over Texas. My review for Mr. Freeze is popping up in the card right now. I'll see you there.